Wake up. Wake up. That's right. It is June. You've slept in. You went to sleep on New Year's Eve, and you're just now waking up. It's June 1st. All right, now that's all. It's all bogus. But wake up anyway. We're going to talk a lot of Niners, 100 days till football.
Oh, you don't need a June 1st designation. It's June 1st. That's a declaration. Welcome to Damon and Larry. I think it's called Wake Up with Damon and Larry. He's Larry. I'm Damon. It's great to have you here. We are 100 days away from the Niners kicking off in Australia, technically 99 days away from the start of the football season because they're going to have that season opener Wednesday night up in Seattle, so it's getting closer. Welcome back, everybody. Please hit like, subscribe, hit notify, all those good things. And we are brought to you by Prize Picks. We're going to hop into game one of the NBA Finals, which begins this week. We'll do that a little bit later on. And since we're talking about sponsors, Larry, I'm very excited, and I know you'll be very happy for me because it's something you and I have been talking about. I have a new sponsor that is debuting on Damon Bruce Plus today at 11 a.m. West Coast time. Snap AI. It is sports gambling made smarter and easier than ever before with, I'm not kidding you, about a 70% win rate. I'll be talking all about it. I'm even going to have the CEO of the company on my show today to talk about it. I'm very excited. A huge welcome to my new sponsor, Snap AI.
That's not a sponsor. That's a retirement plan. What they're hitting at what percent?
Larry, I'm not even kidding. So they told me that they were hitting around 72%, which would make them the single greatest gambler in the history of gambling. They told this to me when we really started about bringing them on as a sponsor about 3 weeks ago, and I've been tracking what I call their best bet option. I'm going to be calling it the snap decision of the day. In the last week, it's at 85%. It's unbelievable, man.
It's basically Mac Jones' completion percentage in his final game starting last year with the Niners. That's unbelievable. And as I said, it's not a sponsor; it's a retirement plan. That might be the tagline. It's not a sponsor; it's a retirement plan.
That's not bad, Larry. Look at it this way: there's nothing guaranteed. No matter what you're doing, no matter how much of a sure thing it is, it's always going to be gambling. But this is the single most powerful tool that you can put in your tool belt as you make the choices on where to put your money when you're gambling. So it's pretty unbelievable.
Well, that's awesome. Awesome stuff. Great news for the channel for sure. We should always tell you that the crew show always brought to you by Pig and a Pickle, the best barbecue in all of Northern California. They're in Corte Madera. They're in Emeryville. And if you're living in Kentucky right now, you're like, where's that? But they're also coming to Petaluma. And that doesn't make things better if you're living in Kentucky. But welcome anyway. And if you're in the Bay, get some Pig and a Pickle. You will love it. Best barbecue in Northern California.
And go support these sponsors, because I just read an article about how hard it is to operate a barbecue place today with the price of beef and everything that's going up, and the time and the space that you need. There was an article about why isn't San Francisco a barbecue town, and it's a number of reasons. Luckily, Pig and a Pickle is the best we got. So go support them every single chance you get.
Oh, and we were just there for lunch a few weeks ago, and Damon got this Reuben that was just maybe the greatest Reuben of all time.
I mean, if they wanted to change the name to Pig and Pastrami, I'd be fine with it.
I mean, it was an unbelievably perfect Reuben. Anyway, also both channels presented by Prize Picks, America's #1 sports picks app. Prize Picks, super simple. You just pick more or less on player stats or game outcomes and build your lineup. It's available in most states, including California. So if you haven't checked it out yet, use code HMA. And when you play $5, you're going to get 50 in lineups instantly. We will do a lineup surrounding game one of the NBA Finals. Knicks, Spurs. Wemby goes to Broadway. It's going to be amazing. I like the Knicks to beat the Spurs. A lot of people say, no. The Western Conference Finals was the NBA Finals. We shall see. I think the Knicks are pretty rugged. I think it's going to be the debut of Wemby and the demise of Wemby in the finals. The Knicks are going to get theirs. That's just a thought. But we're here to talk Niners. And Damon, we titled the stream today 49er report. Brandon Aiyuk is considered untradeable. And this was a Jeremy Fowler report from Saturday. And some people immediately were like, hey, slow news time. Jeremy doesn't have anything new to report. He's just kind of rehashing the same old crud. And maybe there's a little bit of that as well. But I do think that we have some new revelations in that other NFL executives are saying, you know what, ain't gonna be no trade here. They're just gonna hold him till the last day they can hold him. They're gonna cut him loose, and then he's gonna go sign somewhere. It doesn't sound like he's gonna get a king's ransom.
Right. It sounds like a lot of the same, but that to me is news, because if the same old crud was gonna turn into new and improved crud, Larry, it would happen today. June 1st is a day where the NFL business that wasn't going to get done starts to get done. That's why you're going to read an awful lot about A.J. Brown and a possible trade between the Eagles and Patriots. Every single hour when you open up your Twitter today, there's going to be a news story about that, trying to speak that into fruition. And we'll see if that actually happens or not. But we don't just have one. We now have two rival executives, like you said, telling Jeremy Fowler that Brandon Aiyuk is essentially now untradeable, that it's going to be hard to move on because of the knee issues. Plus, he's kind of ghosted the teams, and you still have that contract, which hangs over everything. And basically, he remains in limbo. And after June 1st is when the 49ers can save about $20 million on cap if they were to cut him. So they are in that realm now. So it's really like a game of chicken that the 49ers are playing without any real oncoming traffic coming at them in the road in the game of chicken. They're holding on to Brandon Aiyuk. It doesn't seem like anybody is coming to get Brandon Aiyuk. And it also seems like the theme is, well, number one, why would you bother? Because there's no way the 49ers are going to do anything but cut him. So you don't want to give up something that you can pick up off the street for free unless you want to jump in front of the line. But there aren't too many people in that line to begin with right now, because Brandon Aiyuk, again, beyond the physical concerns, there are questions about his state of, I don't want to say his mental state of things, but how dedicated he is to being a professional wide receiver is in serious question. And every single team in football is asking it.
Well, what's interesting. We've talked about this, ad nauseum, and the audience is tired of it, and I'm tired of it, and you're tired of it. Everybody's tired of it. But what's happening here is that the Niners are kind of indirectly, I think kind of acting as a shield for Brandon Aiyuk. A lot of people like to play it like, the Niners are doing him wrong. They're doing him a disservice. Let him free. Set him free. Especially now, there'll be a lot of people saying that post June 1st. All right, hey, you wanted to wait to June 1st because of the cap the cap advantages. If you waited till June 1st, the Niners, it saves the Niners roughly $20 million against the cap, because now we're in that post June 1st window. So there was a real reason to wait to June 1st. But there'll be a lot of people saying, like, as of right now, hey, man, cut them loose. They're doing them wrong. But they're looking at it wrong. I think they're actually acting as a shield, because right now, if they cut him loose, then he would have to go be a football player and show that he's get on the field for somebody and do it. And I get the feeling that he's not really ready to do it. It doesn't seem like it
from being exposed.
I think they're shielding him right now right now. It's like the Niners are keeping him in this limbo, and there's all these people that are going to idiotically go to the, whatever platform and yell that the Niners are doing him wrong. Well, first of all, it's not the Niners' best interest to hand him to the Commanders, who they play later this year on a Monday night. Why would they hand him a receiver and let him work with his other team, especially when they don't have to? You don't have to. The teams do everything for incremental competitive advantages. This is more than incremental competitive advantage. So you're going to hold him, you're going to do what's best for you. And that's to hold him until the last second and then set him free unless somebody wants to come calling. The other thing is there's a dynamic to this. Guys could get hurt. There's no openings right now. There's no need right now, but partly because I think Aiyuk hasn't demonstrated what he is, partly because of the contract is what it is, but also partly because nobody has got a real severe need. So that all could change over time, and the Niners can just sit and wait for it to kind of unfold. So I think they're shielding him because I don't think he can actually go out there and do it right now. If he had to have like a workout for a bunch of teams, let's say the Niners cut him tomorrow and the next day he was going to have a workout for all 31 other teams. I don't think he would look good in that workout.
Yeah, I don't think he would look good in that workout.
And I don't think he would get much money out of that workout. So I think they're kind of shielding him from his inevitable judgment day that's coming from NFL coaches and personnel people as they watch this guy on the field. And nothing that you did before matters. All that matters is what can you do now? And that's kind of a cold reality. And so I think, I don't know what to think, Damon, but I really think that this guy's put so many images on social media through the years. I don't believe that he looks awesome and he's just not showing us.
It reminds me of something that my father, I'm sure your father, said to you. I don't think anyone can be attributed to this quote because it's just a good saying that you've heard a million times, but protect your reputation. You only have one of them. And Brandon Aiyuk, the reputation and the beating that his reputation has taken at this point really isn't even involved with the knee injury anymore. Now, the knee injury is significant. It could absolutely change and alter the player that he was. There is no just waving your magic wand and saying that doesn't matter. Of course, the knee injury matters, but it's everything else with the knee injury because players come back from knee injuries in this league all the time. Like, it's not even worth talking about how routine coming back from what looks to be a career-altering injury really is. It happens all the time. The science is out there, the rehab is out there, and if player is disciplined, and Aiyuk's discipline has been in question when it comes to rehabbing this injury. He wouldn't report. He wouldn't come to the Niners. He wouldn't take care of himself necessarily. I mean, players all the time are putting up pictures of them rehabbing. I got 15 different pictures of George Kittle on a treadmill over the last 10 months or so as he's working his way back, trying to come back. You can tell that it's something that he's obsessed with. Brandon Aiyuk's obsessions on social media seem to be making fake phone calls with bricks of money, stepping off private jet airplanes and getting into fancy cars. So he just seems wired the totally wrong way right now. And, I don't know if you put this up, Larry. I think you're flashing a few people's comments here. I want to flash this one from Julie, who says it's not a popular opinion, but enough is enough. Just leave Brandon Aiyuk alone at this point. He's a human being. The 49ers are salty and vengeful, in my own opinion. But that's not what's going on here, Julie. And they're not treating Brandon Aiyuk inhumanely, but this is a business. And he is an asset. He's a diminished asset. And as you're looking to liquidate a diminished asset, you're looking to, recoup or get back as much of your investment as humanly possible. So if they
can I make a comparison, by the way? A friend of mine's doing a kitchen.
A kitchen?
Doing a kitchen remodel. Got a bunch of quotes on granite. It seemed really expensive, and he called me. He's like, "Krug, I know you've done home fixing and
you're a kitchen guy."
Yeah, I knew you would know about the surfaces. You know what I mean, Lowry? So he said, "I knew you'd know," and I said, "Yeah, man. There's go to San Leandro to one of those yards, that has a bunch of slabs, one of those, and then go in the back and then just find one that you like that's sitting there that's been like cut and you only need a certain amount and this and that, and just find one and you'll pay like $300. You're not going to pay $3,000, and I'm like, he's like, really? I'm like, yeah, really. So we went and did it. So he got in it. He found like the perfect thing, right? And he gave it to his the guy who does the formatting or whatever it's called, and the shaping of it and the cutting of it,
yes.
And it came out great. Like, he showed me the picture, it's like, it looks great, because he did like a virtual with this new granite in his kitchen. He's got all these virtual. So I'm like, yeah, but bro, it looks good. So now he's like, dude, I want to take you to dinner. I got tickets to the game. I'm like, bro, don't worry about it. I mean, I'm just setting you up. I'm just letting you know. But that's kind of what we're talking about. It's like, it's the same type thing. You're kind of, anyway, there you go. I don't know. It's a loose connection.
How does that come back to Brandon Aiyuk, basically?
Well, because he's kind of broken at this point.
Okay.
And you know what I mean? He's just kind of a part. He's not brand new anymore. And he's not,
Right.
nobody's going to, whoever's going to come looking for him, Damon's going to get kind of a deal. Right. And
Right.
he's just,
And you
sit-
know,
it's
and
a
you're getting
broken piece of granite in the backyard that, you know what? My point is this, Damon. The point is that that granite company could throw out all those broken pieces, but they don't. Why?
right.
Because somebody could come along and offer him $500 for it in the future. And that's kind of where the Niners are with Aiyuk. He's broken. He's not very useful. If somebody wants to come and offer them some below market price for him in the 11th hour, guess what? They're going to take it. And they're like, you know what? We can kill two birds with one stone. We can keep him from the Commanders, kind of say screw you to a guy who said screw you to us. And you know what? Maybe get something out of it.
Yeah, you gotta profit from your scraps. You really have to. One of the biggest
Exactly.
best ideas the guardsman ever had. You know, I'm a guardsman. We do our tree lot. Well, every time you come and get a Christmas tree from the guardsman, we give the tree a fresh cut. And it's just a thin cut off the bottom of the tree trunk. So it has, it's ready to soak up water when you put it in the Christmas tree holder. And we were throwing all those little discs away. A couple of years ago, someone's like, do you realize that every single one of those could be a coaster? Like we could just use a branding iron and put the guardsman brand on each one of these little trimmed tree bits. We bundle them 5 and sell them for $10. And there you go. Here's your guardsman official Christmas tree coasters.
There you go.
We started
Beautiful
making
thing.
money off of our scraps. And this is because we're a charity. We're looking to raise as much money. The 49ers clearly aren't a charity. They're not in the Brandon Aiyuk charity. But I tell you, the Niners do right by their players. But this is a player who sort of double-crossed them. So they're not taking any careful approach when it comes to what to do with Brandon Aiyuk. They are wired. We will do with Brandon Aiyuk what is best for us and only for us at this point. And I don't think that this reaches that point, Larry. If Aiyuk had been, a little bit more responsive, a little bit easier to deal with, I don't think it comes to this. It is, if he's released at some point this summer, the 49ers have a clear runway where they can save about $20 million on the cap. Right. There will be a point, an interest at that point. Maybe they can salvage a trade. Probably not, though, is my feeling. Again, this was all from Jeremy Fowler. My question is, in all of the cap projections that we have already seen, where the Niners are somewhere around 70 million, does that count the Brandon Aiyuk post June 1st designation? Or are you telling me is 70 million in cap about to go to 90 million in cap room for the San Francisco 49ers? Because if that's about to happen, shit, I want 2 tight ends, Joey Bosa, and a partridge in a pear tree before this season gets here.
49ers are like 31 million over the cap next year already without a full contingent of players. So they're going to roll over a good chunk of that to cover that expenditure.
Roll over a good chunk. And
they're going to roll over a major part of it. But I mean, the Niner cap room, I think, is going to be utilized at some portion of their available cap room. Significant portion, I would think, is going to get utilized between now and the trade deadline. Now, is it going to get used in the next week as they go sign a player that, a remaining free agent? Is it going to happen at the deadline? Is it going to happen in August? Are they going to, there's a somebody had it out there, and I was looking on my Twitter because I thought I retweeted it, but I don't see it now. But somebody had the whole thing out there that, this whole Cleveland thing is very suspicious, and a lot of people feel that like the Rams or Seahawks are going to make an 11th hour push for Myles Garrett. And if that is going on, I think if you're a good GM, and I think John Lynch is a good GM, I think maybe they're preparing to try to be competitive in those waters. I mean, I would, if Monken hasn't talked to Garrett and Garrett's handpicked head coach or defensive coordinator was passed over for the head coach by Monken, and Monken is yet to speak to him, and it's June. I would say that it's probably at least, I'm going to put a percentage on it. I would say at least a 35 to 40% chance. I'm going to put it at that level that Myles Garrett has already told the Browns, I want out.
Well, and you would assume that Garrett would have some control over what this trade looked like, because I think he's got a no trade and all that. So,
and what has he been playing in? He's been playing in a 4-3 wide 9. What did the Niners run? A 4-3 wide 9. He's got the no trade. He can control where he goes. But guess what? I bet you he'd go to the Rams or Seahawks too.
Here's the thing: if the Rams or Seahawks are in a conversation, you better damn well be in that conversation too.
Exactly.
Because, I mean, whether or not you land the player, that's a whole other thing. But if there is a conversation to be had, you need to be in it.
You got to be in that deal flow for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Nice use of deal flow. Sounds very professional.
Yeah. Well, I stole it from Joe Lacob and the Warriors. They need to be in the deal flow.
I like it. Joe knows about deal flows. Maybe not drafting power forwards, but deal flows, sure.
There you go.
So conflicting reports. My friend, I don't know if you're, John Kincaid. He's a radio guy in Philadelphia.
I know John Kincaid.
You know John. He's a great guy, and he does
very good radio guy.
Very good. And he does a weekly every Monday morning with Adam Schefter. And he said today that Adam Schefter had completely conflicting reports on Myles Garrett being traded. I know that there's buzz of that coming out of Cleveland. Schefter said on Kincaid today that is not happening, that the Eagles are not interested. The Rams and the Seahawks aren't as involved in this as a website coming out of Cleveland suggested it would be. So I don't know what there really is there. But if there is flow to a deal, the 49ers better put on their swimming trunks and get in the river.
Here's what the Cleveland Browns want. The Cleveland Browns have changed their focus. This year, they've improved their offensive line significantly. They want a wide receiver, and they want to improve their D-line and lean into their defense. They want to run the ball this year a ton with Quinshon Judkins, and then see if Shedeur is the guy. And if he is, they're going to save they're going to use those picks next year on non-quarterbacks. But they also want to potentially load up on 2027 draft capital, according to my Cleveland guy, so that they can be the team in next year's quarterback sweepstakes. Arch, Sellers, you name it. The Oregon kid. There's tons of quarterbacks.
Whenever a team announces a plan for a new stadium, that's the year you circle. That's the Cleveland Browns have just announced their brand new, just out of downtown Cleveland, some suburb of Cleveland. I don't know where they are going, but they got a new stadium opening. Circle that year as the year the Browns want to be good again. That's the year. So I think over the next 2 years, they're in full flush it out, see it out. We want to be good for 2029. That's the year the Cleveland Browns are going to matter as far as they're concerned. So trading a guy like Myles Garrett gets you closer to that goal than whatever your goal might be this year.
Well, here's the other thing. What team was it that was like, hey, you know what? We want to be able to trade, first round picks into the future. Who just asked about that? The Browns.
Yes.
Why? Because the Browns are thinking, we'd like to trade Myles Garrett. We'd like to get a slew of picks into the future and this and that. That's why I guarantee you that's why they're thinking that.
Absolutely.
So, the 49ers, by the way, lead the NFL. We might as well share the screen and let people see this. This is where the Niners are, by the way, according to above the cap, in cap space, 72.4 million right now.
So my question is,
if you look at next year,
92, does that go to 92 with an Aiyuk goodbye?
See where they are next year, though? Next year, they're minus 30. They're 34.1 million in the red with 54 players. So, so they have no cap room next year. And so that's why they want to roll it over. And then 28, they are dead last with already everybody else is a positive cash flow situation. The Niners are minus 16.9 million in the 28 cap. So
if we're being completely honest, in those years, you probably got, first of all, Mike Evans will be off the books. George Kittle's off the books. Nick Bosa is probably off the books. Right. Fred Warner could be off the books by then. So
the cap's going up. These are not, this is hardly like a nightmare situation. The Niners are in their go for it year right now, I think. How could they not be? With all the players they have, but just don't think that they're going to spend some massive portion of that 72 million on players this year. They may add a player. They may add two.
Right.
They may add one player and wait for something to do at the deadline. And maybe they're going to save some of that to be in the Garrett deal flow. I don't think Garrett's going to be moved, but you never know. I mean, the Browns situation, the Browns are a dysfunctional house.
They indeed are. They indeed are. And if you can take advantage of that, if you can take advantage of a constant state of rebuild and never going anywhere, you got to, again, if Myles Garrett remains in Cleveland, great for the Browns. If Myles Garrett were to sign with the Rams or the Seahawks, that would be a world of hurt for every team in the NFC West that didn't just sign Myles Garrett. That would be massive.
Well, I mean, if you're the 49ers, I mean, the other question is, the Niners have multiple quarterbacks here. So, I mean, the Niners, I think, ought to wait until I think they ought to showcase your guy Rourke and put him in the best situation to succeed in the preseason and see if somebody comes calling. I mean, Arizona has no quarterback, really. What if Curtis Rourke plays great in the preseason? There's a lot of talk that Josh Sweat wants out. He just signed a 4-year contract with the Cardinals in free agency in 2025 that included $41 million in guarantees, 38 of that at the signing. So all the guaranteed money is pretty much gone. And so's his guy, Jonathan Gannon, who's in Green Bay. A lot of talk Arizona is going to be forced to trade Josh Sweat at a loss. Would you trade Curtis Rourke for Josh Sweat at the cut down? Would the Arizona Cardinals do it? Well, I don't know if they would, but they're desperate for a quarterback. And if Rourke looks good enough in the preseason, they may.
I mean, I think they're looking for Arch Manning at this point, right? I mean,
you can have them both. I mean, they're looking for whatever they can get. I mean, if you don't have a franchise quarterback, you better look under every single possible, avenue of opportunity. Yeah. I'll tell you the one that intrigues me is I've always been intrigued by Anthony Richardson. I just think that look at the trends around the NFL right now. What do the Chiefs do? They brought in Justin Fields and Garrett Nussmeier. What do the Eagles do? They had Jalen Hurts and Tanner McKee, Damon, and they brought in this offseason Cole Payton from North Dakota State, who's very athletic, and they brought in Andy Dalton. You look at Seattle. Seattle's got Darnold, but they also have Drew Lock, and then they drafted the kid out of Alabama, as their third string guy, who's incredibly athletic. Rams have a bunch of quarterbacks now. So it's like, you can never have enough quarterbacks, that's for sure, because they're great to trade. They're a great surplus to trade off of. And the way Shanahan, way quarterbacks tend to play in his system, it's very quarterback friendly. I would not be shocked at all if Curtis Rourke, who I saw in the minicamp, I didn't think he looked great, but I thought he looked pretty good. He had a couple dimes. And this is early, right? Wait until August. I think there's a chance that Rourke could look really, really good. And some of these teams that need a quarterback could come calling right at the cut down, because I don't think the Niners are going to keep 3 on the roster.
By the way, we're going to talk a little bit more about being a quarterback and how sometimes if you can't be good, be a little lucky along the way, and that'll help too. But thank you for being here today. It's Wake Up, Damon Bruce, Larry Krueger. It's great to have you. We've got over 1,400 people watching across all the platforms we're streaming on, here on YouTube, over on Twitter as well. Larry, I think you put it up a couple other places. I still go up on Twitch. I think you're up on Instagram. So we're up on a whole bunch of places.
Facebook.
A lot of you are here this morning watching us, and thank you. And that means football is back in the air. It should feel like it's back in the air. We are 100 days away from 49ers kicking off in Australia against the Rams, who better damn well not have Myles Garrett down there eating Vegemite sandwiches, getting ready for the season. But Larry, I thought the most interesting thing I saw, and I already know some people will be like, you guys are Purdy apologists. Again, this isn't an apology. These are stats. I'm just giving you stats, okay? To measure interception variance. Not all interceptions are created equal, Larry. Not all interceptions are created equal. Some are on the quarterback, some are on a bad read, some are on a great jumped route, some are on, dude, your wide receiver wasn't there. Your wide receiver had to hit him in his chest, hit him in the helmet, it bounced in the air, and now all of a sudden you got a bad luck interception going the other way. So Pro Football Focus created a net luck metric that compares turnover worthy throws to actual, oh, you just did that level of interceptions. So are you sponge worthy? Are you turnover worthy? The NFL's luckiest quarterback last year
Stafford.
avoiding turnover-worthy throws was Matthew Stafford. Matthew Stafford recorded 21 turnover-worthy throws, but only through 8 interceptions. In other words, a lot of the free money that he dropped all over the sidewalk wasn't picked up by anybody. Meanwhile, Brock Purdy finished second unluckiest quarterback with a minus 4.5 net luck ranking. Only Geno Smith was worse. The quote from the story, the article says, the bad breaks extended beyond his turnover-worthy throw twos as 4 additional interceptions came on passes that were not deemed turnover-worthy. There is no quarterback from the 2025 data set that was more hurt by interception variance than Brock Purdy. His official 95 passer rating would have climbed to 100.7 under league average interception luck. In other words, Brock Purdy hasn't had jack shit for wide receivers. That's the way I read it here. Like, where does the turnover luck variance really come from? If we can all agree your quarterback is executing and an accurate quarterback, it's because you got guys who are out there not running their routes right, not catching the football, not getting separation, turning throws that aren't even bad luck throws into bad luck throws. Look, as you're putting together the whole puzzle about Brock Purdy, there are so many data points to support he's really good at this than there are data points to blow up Brock Purdy shouldn't even be here. Like,
just to push back a little bit on this. I mean, I'm the biggest Brock fan there is, but I think there's something to be. I don't think those numbers all reflect only that. Like, Stafford has had more turnover worthy throws, but fewer interceptions, so it was viewed as better luck. Purdy had fewer turnover worthy throws, but then a higher percentage of them turned into interceptions. I think it has something to do with the velo on the ball. You know, Stafford's throwing missiles through there, and missiles are hard for defensive players to catch. Purdy throws a very catchable ball, and it's catchable for everybody. And that includes defenders.
Maybe there's some of that, but again, there's always a number to explain it away, right? Like Brock Purdy has more success on downfield throws than anyone in football, yet attempts fewer downfield throws than anyone in football. I don't think that's because of arm strength. That was because of
but that's a different stat. You just took two different stats. You just went a different direction there.
I know.
That's a totally different thing.
But there's always something.
I agree with that.
Explains away why Brock isn't winning an MVP almost.
Well, I mean, he's not, I don't think he's had very good receivers at all. I agree. I'll say this. I think the biggest, it's like we talk about a lot of different things about the Niners. The biggest difference, I think, from that we've seen in a long time with the 49ers is going to be last year's wide receiver core compared to this year's wide receiver core as far as overall speed and ability to separate. Last year, they had no separation ability. It was the slowest core I've ever seen. And they had the worst separation I've ever seen in a game in that Seattle game. Now you got all these guys who run 4.3s, and you got running backs underneath that can catch it and can make big plays. The 49ers are going to put a lot more pressure on a defense this year. And also it's going to look a whole lot different because Brock's going to be throwing it down the field because he loves to throw it down the field, but he's going to be throwing it to guys who get separation. So I actually think Pearsall, Cowing, Watkins, all these guys, maybe even some of these guys we don't know their names that well, Grimes and Pauling and Stribling. I think Brock Purdy may be able to put on a freaking air show this year. Because I think he's going to be able to. I think he's proven if you're open down the field, he can dot you. But if the Niners haven't had that many guys in that situation, so he's just now it's going to be about, can they protect him? Can they give him the time? Because it's going to take a few extra second or an extra second and a half, let's say, to let his receivers work open down the field. But yeah, I think here's the one I was going to show you as far as the Brock Purdy stats that were unbelievable. This came out. PFN had this, Pro Football Network, and this is Purdy's rankings since he became into the NFL. He's number one in the NFL EPA per dropback. He's number one in the NFL on conversions on third and fourth down. He's number two in the NFL in passer rating since he came into the league. And his completion rate is sixth. His win rate is seventh. I mean, these are good, really, really good numbers. So we all know that here's the reality. The guy was a winner at Iowa State. And the year that he left, they went 1-8 inside their conference with the same head coach. The Niners, he stepped in for Jimmy G. The Niners were immediately better. They went on some massive, winning streak. He's gone to a Super Bowl. He almost got it done. It hasn't happened yet. And that's where we're at. And now they're trying to get back there. Their team, teams win Super Bowls, not quarterbacks. I think Hurts over Mahomes is proof of that. I think Darnold winning the Super Bowl is another example of that. You got to have the best freaking team. And he hasn't had the best team. So if John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan can build the best team around Brock Purdy, he's going to win the Super Bowl. He is.
I agree with you. I mean, I do. I know that that's not exactly fascinating, spicy content, but Larry, I agree with you. Thanks for watching, everybody. Like and subscribe. I think he's going to flirt with an MVP this year. If he stays healthy, I think he's in the MVP conversation. I really do. I just think this is the best talented group of wide receivers he's ever played with. And there was an article on Niners Web Zone by Jack Stewart, and I guess this is as good a place as any to get into it, Larry. Where and again, this is one of those like, I'm going out on a limb here. Just come out on a limb with me. See if you think that there's something there. There's probably nothing there to this, but maybe there is. Jamar Chase, George Pickens, Justin Jefferson, A.J. Brown, DK Metcalf, Mike Evans. What do all those guys have in common?
They're all rich.
They're all rich. It's the old. It's a Cliff Clavin at the end of Jeopardy. Who are three people who have never been in my kitchen? That might be the correct answer, Cliff, but this is not what we're looking for. They're all from the SEC. When the Eagles won their championship, they had two wide receivers from the SEC, Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown. Well, let's take a little look at the 49ers wide receivers right now. They had a wide receiver room that they flushed. They weren't happy with their talent. They weren't happy with their speed. They weren't happy with the production. So they flushed the room, and here's in it now. Mike Evans has been in the NFL so long. Where he went to college doesn't even matter anymore.
Was A&M even in the SEC when he got there?
No, it wasn't. But
I don't know.
SEC now. Okay, it's in the SEC now. Christian Kirk, he also went to A&M, just like Evans. First rounder Ricky Pearsall is from Florida. Last year, Lynch spent a fourth-round pick on Jordan Watkins from Ole Miss, and he dips right back into the Rebels roster for Dejon Stribling this year. Demarcus Robinson, who's probably on the edge of this wide receivers room, about to push out of it. Even he went to Florida. The bad news for Jake Cowing, no longer Jacob, he's now Jake, is that he went to Arizona, not an SEC school. But this team has added some SEC talent. And look, I'm a Big Ten guy, but I've always told, I'll tell you, the SEC is a real conference, boy. There's no hiding untalented players as starters in the SEC. If you're a starter in the SEC, you are as close to being in the NFL as anyone can be. And maybe there's something there, Larry, but I really do think that this wide receiver room is going to be, if not a significant step forward, it's going to be a step forward enough to really have Brock in some very significant conversations at the end of this year if he stays healthy.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, this is an exciting year because I think this is the year that Brock's going to prove that, you know what, he doesn't need big name guys. He doesn't have, JJ didn't make him. Aiyuk didn't make him. Debo didn't make him. There are other receivers out there that can run routes and get separation, more separation than the slow crew that they used to have. So they got a lot more speed. They're going to stretch the field vertically. They're going to stretch the field horizontally. I I still think they need another tight end, but I think they've got a good competitive offensive line situation, but with the backups, really can be intense competition on both the O line and D line, intense competition at wide receiver. A lot of it's just about, what's the biggest sports aberration of our lifetime? When I think of it, like where we thought the team was going to be this and they were freaking that, you know what I mean? I think of baseball and I think of the San Francisco Giants of 2021.
I was about to say, I almost said out loud, is this the Gabe Kapler Giants team we're talking about?
And it's like, what happened that year? Well, you had a year where literally, I remember looking at the roster that year, like 18 guys out of the 25-man roster, like didn't have a guaranteed beyond that season. So everybody was playing for a contract, their livelihood, arbitration. Like nothing was settled. Only like two guys had settled contracts, or three guys.
Yeah, you and I have been saying it for a long time. You gotta love a guy in a walk year.
It's a big deal. I mean, the bottom line is when you get drafted in the first 4 rounds of an NFL draft, you're kind of on scholarship. You show up and everybody loves you and everybody wants to talk to you, and there's all this hope for what you may do in the future, and you get a year to kind of acclimate. Well, guess what happens? Then all of a sudden that year runs out, the scholarship's over, and now you got to go. And then maybe you have an injury. And so maybe you get like kind of a second scholarship year. And that's kind of where the Niners are at with some of these guys. Jacob Cowing was a damn good, there's a lot of people who follow my YouTube channel and have for, since I started it, and I talked up Jacob Cowing, and then people be like, oh yeah, you talked up all these. I'm still talking these guys up. I still believe in Jacob Cowing. I still believe in Jordan Watkins. It hadn't happened yet, right? But it doesn't mean it's not going to happen. And now they're both in a situation where it's now or fucking never. It's now or never. You know what I mean? Jacob Cowing, are you going to be an NFL player? We're going to find out this summer. If you're not an NFL player this summer, it's never. You're done. You're going on to something else. Jordan Watkins, it's now or never, man. You're a 4th-round pick. You're not a 1st-round pick. It's now or never.
I mean, that's the really scary thing for Isaac Guerendo and where he is in his career. I know that he's turned into a little bit of a punching bag for 49ers fans. It's really a shame that he's got that torn pec right now, because he is in now or never mode right now. So
I think actually it may benefit him, because I think there was very little chance he was going to.
He needs to go somewhere else. He needs to go to a head coach who doesn't think he's an automatic fumble.
I kind of disagree. I just think the system is a good fit for him, and he's an amazing athlete. He just needs to get some confidence, some momentum. And to me, it's not about going to a different system and trying to. He's already kind of a raw player. I think it's just he was going to get cut. My point is this: he was going to get cut at the 53 cut down. Now he's probably not going to be healthy until right around then. And now you can put him on a list, a practice squad, and just kind of develop him. I don't think anybody's going to pick him up because he won't be able to show anything, and nobody's that titillated by like, oh, you used to be this big and fast. I mean, there are other teams that will take a look at him because he is that big and fast. But I think that the Niners, the best thing for him would be to develop more and, get better here. And he's going to, I think, get that opportunity because I think they're going to wind up carrying him for another year. We'll see. Maybe not. It might injury buy him out tomorrow.
If a change of scenery isn't what's best for him, I don't know if practice squad is best for him either. I don't know. I do think a change of scenery is probably best because it's just the opportunities aren't going to be there.
But I mean,
Talon Black
if he said
Guerendo's carries and chances to even show in OTAs or
again, you're going to keep 5 backs. Look, you're going to keep 5 backs. Okay, that's the reality.
Right.
Juice.
Are we counting Juszczyk?
Juice, Christian McCaffrey, Jordan James, Kalon Black. Those are 4. And so now everybody else who shows up this summer is competing for one spot. And that group is Patrick Taylor, Guerendo when he gets healthy. And he will be healthy before the season starts. So we shouldn't, he's not out for the year or anything. Jamar Jefferson, who they just added this week, the former Oregon State star. And then Jordan Mims is kind of an interesting player. He's played at Fresno State. He's kind of a fullback, kind of a halfback. He's kind of an undersized fullback. So right now, that's what they got. Those four guys competing for probably one spot. And maybe not. Maybe they'll cut all those guys and go pick up another back from the outside, another team. There'll be a bunch of backs available this summer.
In terms of other Niners news, I think we're out of actual news that happened from this weekend or stories that changed or developed over the weekend. I can tell you the one thing that everyone needs to be watching today is what does happen with A.J. Brown in Philadelphia. Is there really a deal about to be struck there? Did Howie pluck a first rounder from the Patriots?
I don't buy that. I don't buy that at all. I don't buy that at all. Why the hell would the Patriots trade a first-round draft choice for A.J. Brown? And who else is offering a first-round draft choice? I'd love to know.
I don't
buy that at all. I don't believe that the Patriots are going to trade a first round. If they do, then Elliott Wolf is getting taken by Howie Roseman. A.J. Brown is not worth a first-round draft choice.
I mean, as a team, though, that was just in the, Super Bowl, maybe they think they're an A.J. Brown away. Maybe they're thinking this is the right thing for Drake May. And we're willing to
weird. Don't you think that's weird, though? Don't you think that's weird to say, you know what? Let's kiss off Stephon Diggs, and then let's trade our future number one for A.J. Brown?
Doesn't make much sense. You could say that maybe there was some legality caught up in that Stephon Diggs decision. Legality, which Stephon Diggs is cleared, by the way.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things that when you add it all together, it doesn't make sense. But to me, adding A.J. Brown to a football team, that makes sense. I don't know if the price of a first rounder makes sense, but I would want A.J. Brown on the 49ers. I mean, that guy's a hell of a football player when he's, involved and dialed in. He's very, very good. Another one of those SEC guys, Larry. I
get an idea. We're talking a lot about Joey Bosa this spring because there's a lot of talk about Joey Bosa. Where's he going to play? And, is he going to join Nick? And the Niners really could use more pass rush. And then Nick shows up last week at minicamp and he's like, yeah, Joey's working on his golf game. I don't think he's thinking about football. He's made a lot of money and this and that. It sounds almost like Joey's going to hang it up. But the Niners still could really use some pass rush. And there's always a lot of talk about Bosa. There's people have mentioned Jadeveon Clowney because Clowney's available and he played for Eberflus last year with Dallas and now Eberflus is with the Niners. Kyle Van Noy's name has come up because he's like openly gone on the Kay Adams show and begged the Niners to sign him, and yet he's 35. Here's the name. If you're going to go old school, don't go old school Kyle Van Noy. How about Von Miller? Von Miller is out there. He's 37. He took 420 snaps last year with the Commanders. 32% of the Commanders' defensive snaps. He logged a team-leading 9 sacks, 19 pressures, 6 TFLs. And this guy can do it, man. I mean, there's a lot of talk that Denver wants him, but Denver's loaded. They got Nick Bonito. They got a bunch of guys. And obviously going back to Denver where he won a Super Bowl. But, Von Miller, if I'm the Niners, I think if I had a few extra dollars to throw around and I don't want to go long term, and like I could see why the Niners, who have a decision coming up, Damon, at the end of the year with Nick Bosa, may not want to complicate things by having Joey and Nick, especially if Nick regresses this year and they want to say goodbye. And what if they have Joey under contract for next year? It's just awkward. But if you go after Von Miller, man, Von Miller, if the season's on the line and it's 3rd and down and you got to get pressure on Stafford to close out a win or pressure on Darnold, man, I'll take my damn chances with Von Miller at this age over almost anybody. And he's just so bendy and he might be the perfect guy for Romello Height to just be like
Ambassador Von Miller.
Yeah, watch Von Miller and put Von Miller in the technician that he is opposite Nick Bosa. I don't know. I mean, the pass rushers always get smarter. It's very technique rich. I'd be interested in Von Miller. I think
How about this? I think I'd be even more interested in Cam Jordan if you were talking about Old Man River and who can come in here and help.
He's a little slower, though. He's a bigger, slower guy. You could argue that they have with McKell and Cam Sample and some other. They have the big-bodied guy. What they could really use is that edge burner. That speed element that just makes you go, oh man, we're gonna have to block this guy. So I do think they need a speed rusher of some kind.
But we get some Bosa news I did not know about. Tom Crown, I don't know if Tom knows about this either, but he says Joey Bosa just got married. Did he? I didn't know that.
Yeah. Nick was the what's it called when you
best man?
No, when you actually do
the ring bearer?
No, he was the
efficient.
He was the efficient. Yes, there you go.
The efficient, not the officiant, but he presided.
He presided over it.
So he's got a side gig now.
Do you, Joey, take
this woman to your lawfully wedded
wife? I love Nick, man. He's the best. Somebody was asking him the other day about the Niner D-line, the young D-line, and he's like, all three of the young D tackles look really good. And then he was talking about, he's like, and then Romello, and then he goes, and the other guy, and he looks right at me, and I knew he did. I knew he
was looking for a cue.
He's looking, and I said Kamara, and he kind of looked at me, and I'm like, and then he goes, yeah, Mikhail. That's right, Mikhail. He's like, Mikhail looks really good too. It's like, yeah, dude. Mikhail, Romello, Bryson Eason, James Thompson, Grayson Halton. I mean, the 49ers loaded up on the D-line. We're not even talking about Odigizua.
Look, I'm just going to say, for a guy who's clearly smoked no weed, right? I mean, I don't think Bose is a weed guy at all.
That's the way he talks.
There's an awful lot of Jeff Spicoli in the presentation for a guy who doesn't smoke any weed. So.
Mr. Hand.
Somebody order a pizza. Wouldn't that be hysterical if the pizza was delivered while Bosa was in front of the media down in Santa Clara? That would be fantastic. Speaking of in front of the media in Santa Clara, what's the week look like in terms of OTA practices, Larry? When are the Niners back on the field this week?
That's a good question.
Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday?
I believe it's Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I believe they're going to do the assistant coaches are going to do some talking this week. And then maybe Thursday they hit the field. There's also rumor that Trent Williams is going to be there this week. And there's rumor that the Niners may cancel the mandatory mini June 9th and 10th and get to their summer break a little sooner, which would be a reward for the coaches, a reward for everybody involved, really, to not have that mini camp. So,
and what I also saw that they've got a couple of scheduled practices, which when we talk about all the preseason, everything and OTAs and preseason games and yada, yada, there is nothing that the coaching staff values more than joint practices. And it looks they got one against it's going to be the
Chargers. Yeah. Solid Harbaugh. Those Shanahan loves those. And you know what? I can see why, because you can get a lot more done and you can be very specific. You can be like, hey, we want to practice red zone, whatever, zone read handoffs. We want to practice, bootlegs, with our backup quarterback. Hey, will you test this guy on this pattern, because we've been telling him that he's got to do this, So coaching staffs, especially if they get along, will script that stuff literally to answer questions that they want answered personnel wise.
Well, and
their guys in a competitive situation.
You know that Shanahan and Mike McDonald are going to get along great when they step on the field. I don't know about Harbaugh and Shanahan's relationship, but that relationship.
Mike McDaniel,
excuse me.
I was going to say Mike McDonald, he's probably not going to get along with.
I don't know, man. We're talking about the
Mike McDonald right now owns Shanahan.
Oh, there's that Mike McDonald. I was also thinking about,
Old
some
McDonald?
Some yacht rock.
Mike McDonald. Yeah.
But obviously the Saleh relationship with Shanahan is about as strong as any two coaches could probably get. So those are going to be very valuable joint practices, I would imagine.
Well, they're always valuable. They're always valuable. And you know what? The guys get tired of hitting each other. And also it's like you want to kind of show what you got as a team. And it brings the team together. It lets, you got to have some swagger, man. You got to have some strut. You can't, the game's not played on just, no emotion. It's an emotional game. And to me, that's a big part of it. You got to see kind of how your team is going to handle it. So yeah, I thought it was advantageous in past years when the Niners have done it. The Niners find a way to do these things without it turning into a full-fledged brawl. For whatever reason, when other teams get together, That's exactly what happens. It becomes a full-fledged, melee brawl. And that
Well,
the coaches never like to see that, but they do love to see the competitive fire.
Well, the whole thing is we don't have time to waste out here. And every single time we are wasting about pulling guys off of scrums and blowing whistles and break it up, you guys break it up. That's 3 more plays we're not running today. That's 3 more snaps we're not practicing because we got to deal with this machismo bullshit. Guess what? Everybody here's a badass. You're all in the NFL. Can we agree on that? Let's just get to work. But
you can also kind of lose your team. I thought Jim Harbaugh, when he asked his team in the head-to-head practices with his brother's team, his brother wanted to add all these extra plays on at the end of practice, and Jim was like, all right, no problem. And it's like, dude, your no problem was, it's your mouth and it's their ass. And It's like, you know what I mean? It's like, and I thought there were probably some guys who didn't dig that from what I heard, but whatever. You do find out good things about your football team in those joint practices. And I think Shanahan claims that he thinks they're more advantageous in the preseason games.
I would agree. I mean, that's a thing. In the preseason game, you cannot control what you're working on. It's just the flow of a football game.
Yeah. You
can specifically run 3rd and 15 20 times in a row if you want to work on 3rd and 15, So
right. All right, let's do our prize picks because we forgot to do our prize picks. The prize picks lineup. We'll jump into our prize picks lineup for today. Prize Picks is America's #1 sports picks app, and the reason I love it, it's simple. You're just picking more or less on player stats or even game outcomes. You build your lineup and you're in. No complicated stuff, just what you think is going to happen in the game. Use code HMA, play $5, get $50 in lineups instantly. The link is in the description below. All right, let's get to we'll put Damon and I
Game 1 of the NBA Finals, which is Wednesday night. We're not going to deal with the frickin' Giants in Milwaukee. We're not going to be taking on Jonah Cox props. We're not quite ready to do that. But let's talk about Game 1 of the NBA Finals, baby.
Okay. I really think this is the one that I love. The prop that I love the most is right here. Julian Champagne Panny from St. John's, New Yorker, going up against the Knicks. Game 1 of the Finals. He's going to have at least 10 points for sure. Champagne getting 10 is a lock. This guy's an awesome shooter.
Let me tell you who I've been riding with in the NBA's postseason too. And you've been cashing in for me on every single lineup.
Brunson?
Stephon Castle.
Ooh, okay.
Find me Stephon Castle. What is he looking at here? In terms
11.5 points.
Bang that over. That more will come in and around 18 to 22. Stephon Castle is having a leap forward. He and Victor Wembanyama are the reason why the Spurs are probably in the NBA Finals. He's been fantastic, especially when De'Aaron Fox got hurt.
Fox was a big player for the Spurs in that last game, though. He really carried them as a veteran. All right, let's go.
Is that Wembanyama 12.5 rebounds? I'm telling you, I'm out on the rebounding. Wembanyama's playing too far away from rebounding range, even for a guy his size, to get a whole bunch of boards. Plus, I think OG Anunoby is going to put his body in him. What's that Anunoby? Is that 11.5 points? I would like more on OG Anunoby, please. I'm not going to build in too many legs here for you.
No, that's all right. What do you think about Cat? You got a feeling on Cat? I think Cat.
Here's the thing: if the Knicks win this, it's because Cat is going to pull Wembanyama out to the 3-point line all night long.
Yeah, I'm going to go with more on Cat 17.5. All right. I love this matchup, by the way. It's a great matchup for the NBA.
It's not only great in terms of just what we're watching with our own two eyes and the aesthetics of watching a pretty basketball game with a lot of defense being played. Obviously, you got the defensive player of the year in Wembanyama, and the Knicks are just a defensive monster right now.
Exactly, and that's why I'm going less on Vic. 27.5 is a fat number for a young guy in his first finals game against a physical Knicks team. I would be shocked if he might have a big game later in this series. To me, this series is really on as far as like the nation will be gripped into it if the Knicks win game 1. And I think the Knicks are going to win game 1. And there's you remember from covering the Warriors, that when you have a young team and they win a series, it's hard to match the intensity, bring that intensity in the next game. And so I like the Knicks in game one. I probably like the Knicks in the series. We'll put 10 on this. Actually, we'll put 5. We'll put 5. We're trying to make it stretch, and we will submit our lineup. And let's take a look at what our lineup looks like after our lineup was submitted. And here we go. Okay, let's see what it looks like. All right, so we did a 5-pick power play. $5 pays us 25. Julian Champagny has got to have at least 10. Stephon Castle's got to have at least 12. OG Anunoby's got to have at least 12. Karl Anthony Towns has got to have 18. Victor Wembanyama's got to have less than 28. If that happens, all 5 were 5 times richer for our $5.
New user offers. You use code HMA. You get $5. You play 5, and you get $50 in lineups instantly. To download on the app, check it out. It's in the description of both of the live streams that you're watching, either over on the Krug Show channel or on Damon Bruce Plus. Just click on those links, if you will. And again, Prize Picks is about picking more or less. Yes, there are team picks. You can get winners that way. But this is the way we're building our lineups today. So good luck to everyone. And I will soon be helping you win your Prize picks or your DraftKings picks or wherever you're making your plays, because Snap AI is going to come into focus today on Damon Bruce Plus at 11 o'clock, which means I got to get running here soon, Larry. I got a little bit of a get ready before my next show.
We can hit our supers and bails.
Yeah, let's get in.
We got these. Here we got this one from Dre. He said, is there a scenario where Brandon Aiyuk can forfeit his remaining contract and the Niners would regain that cap savings? I think if he retired, you mean? If he retired, I think there might be something in that. But I don't think there's all the guaranteed money's gone. Yeah. I think the financial equation between the Niners and Aiyuk is played out. At this point, he's either going to be gone.
If he's on the team, they pay him. If he's not, they don't.
Today was the big day. He was never going to be released before today, because today's the day you can split his cap burden over 2 years as opposed to 1. So he was never going anywhere pre-June 1st, even though there was a lot of speculation around the draft. Fuji says, looks like Russell Wilson will be a CBS analyst. You know, Russell is what an interesting career. I'll say this, man. I've had a couple brushes with Russell Wilson. What a guy, man. He is a tremendous guy. He really is.
I don't know if people like him when he talks, though. He always comes across, I think, he's a little disingenuous when he's doing it into a microphone. He's like performative in the way that Alex Rodriguez was. Like, he's a little too polished to seem sincere.
Yeah. He's a good dude, though, dude.
He's a good guy. Yeah,
let me give you my 30 seconds on Russell Wilson. Niners are playing Seahawks on Thanksgiving. Seahawks win the game. They're eating turkey on the 50.
This is turkey on the 50, the dawn of turkey on the 50.
Right. People are going crazy because they're eating turkey on the 50. I go into the visiting locker room because, you know, they won, and I wanted to see if any of their guys would talk. And Russell Wilson's standing right there. And I go, hey, Russell, how you doing, man? Larry Kruger, I do the Niner postgame, so I can do a word with you. And he's like, you know what? He's like, man, I would like to do that, but you know what? See that guy right there? And he points at this media relations guy for Seattle. He's like, if you start talking to me right now, he's going to just come right over here and he's going to tell you that I'm going to talk at the podium and this and that. And then I'm like, oh yeah, no, I get it. And I start to kind of like walk away, and he goes, hey. And he hands me a card, and he's like, this is my agent's number. Give him a call. We could probably set something up. So, I mean, Russell Wilson is just a solid dude. And, most guys would blow you off and just really blow you off. He actually, was a little bit.
He made an effort. Look at it this way. When any athlete lifts his finger to just not treat a media member like a schmuck who's lucky to be there, it's nice.
And he didn't know me. He doesn't know me. I mean, it's like one thing if it's a home team, they know you, but it's the road team. It's like, he doesn't know me. So it's
you didn't walk up to him and be like, do you know who I am?
Hey, bro, have you seen the Krug Show? Rita Thomas, California AAA Auto Club announcer. that Aiyuk was named AAA's Driver of the Year.
Oh yeah, he's the qualifying lap leader on Tasman Ave right now.
Yes, he's the pole setter. Too much sauce. D Wade or SGA? Who is higher on the all-time list? Right now, it's D Wade.
Yeah, it's still Dwayne Wade. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is a very interesting player. The flopping included in all of it. Yeah, it's still.
He's great, but Chet looks awful.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. I just think I don't know if Chet is awful. I just think
he looks awful the way that
lunch. Yeah, that he just.
Woo, Chet. Maybe fewer commercials, boys, and maybe a little bit more ball. Fuji says SF gets heat for letting the 49ers move, but what is Chicago and the owner's excuse? City has large area, large population, big city budget, and McCaskey owner an iconic brand, yet the options are the suburbs or Indiana.
It's embarrassing. It's thoroughly embarrassing. The owners of the Chicago Bears have demonstrated.
They should just tear down Soldier and build it right there.
Well, they can't though because it's protected in some ways.
Because of the 1933,
the original the colonnades and all that stuff. Plus, there's
keep that.
And the problem is the parking around it. And here's the thing: it's worked for years. Don't tell me it wouldn't work now. It's the McCaskey family. They have no business owning an NFL team anymore. They're a mom and pop shop who can't afford the real prices of professional football anymore. I wish they would sell. Kevin Warren is a disaster as a president and CEO. And the city of Chicago is just, I think, all screwed up in so many ways. It's ridiculous what is happening. If they move out to the suburbs and they go to the place where the horse track used to be, I guess it'll be
Arlington Heights.
Yeah, if they move to Indiana, everybody involved should be shot and fucking drowned in Lake Michigan.
Seriously, you can't come up with something in Illinois? I mean, that seems ridiculous. Now, my family's from there. I love going to Soldier Field. You could park right there at the convention center and just walk in. McCormick Place, is that what it's called, or something like that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It was on the lakefront. It was iconic. It seems like there should be some way to preserve that. Chicago's got a lot of problems as a city, but I mean, come on. That's a major loss if they lose the Bears to Indiana. Rita Thomas says, remember Kaepernick tossing 3 straight to Crabtree, yet we had Frank Gore, future Hall of Famer, not getting the ball. Do I remember?
Yeah, Rita.
You asked me if I remember. Damon and I were sitting right next to each other, and I
was
was swearing, fuck!
We were right there. And Rita, why you bring that up on June 1st when it's all about better things to come than bad scabs to scratch?
Oh my God. And by the way, if we ever reran those plays and you guys saw what I saw when I watched the end zone wide on the Kaepernick I think it's the second down play where Kaepernick basically rolls right. And instead of, he had a lane, Damon. If he just takes it, puts his head down and runs, the guy was going to score a touchdown for sure. If he didn't score a touchdown, it was going to be 3rd and goal from the 1 or from the 2. Okay. Instead, he rolls right, and then just fires the biggest laser right off Crabtree's shoulder pads and helmet.
Right, we're throwing fades. Why are you throwing a fade 99 miles an hour?
This was pre-fade. This is before the fade. This was the comebacker to Crabtree that went off his freaking helmet and shoulder pads. It was just a bullet. It was just a ridiculous bullet by Kaepernick. He had no touch. So he threw the least catchable football. So that was the disaster. Then handing it to Michael James on the first play was a ridiculous call. Calling a timeout out of the 2-minute warning is Jim Harbaugh's legacy. And throwing fades with Kaepernick to Crabtree, a receiver that you didn't throw a fade to all year, a quarterback who threw maybe 3 or 4 fades in his entire life. Doesn't throw that pass. I mean, the
timeout that Harbaugh called did more to reinvigorate Ray Lewis than deer antler spray ever did. I mean,
dude, I remember like it was yesterday. They called the timeout. We're sitting right next to each other. I got the binoculars. We're in the far end zone, so I'm looking down this way, and I'm like, Damon, they're toweling off Bernard Pollard, Haloti Ngata, Ray Lewis, Ed Reed, all these old, godforsaken, ancient Ravens are sitting there, and they're toweling off, and they're catching their breath, and they're gearing up. And I'm like, I go, Harbaugh just made this 10 times more difficult than it needed to be. And sure enough, goal line stand. Damn it, Rita!
It wasn't a goal line stand as much as it was goal line failure.
They got to 1st and goal from the 7 with like 2 minutes and 20 seconds left.
Super
and
Bowl
could
right
not
there.
do it.
I got 6 words that everyone should remember. Hand the ball to Frank Gore.
Yeah. The Niners got screwed with the holding on the Jacoby Jones return for a touchdown. Bruce Miller was sandwiched by 2 guys right in the middle of the field. Nobody saw it at all. There was, and Anquan Bolden was amazing in that game for the Ravens. Chris Culliver had some bad plays. There were some bad plays in that game. Well, Michael had a fumble, but I'll just never forget Harbaugh calling a timeout out of the 2-minute warning when you got an old Ravens team that was gasping for fucking air. Oh,
first offensive play of the game, illegal formation. Are you kidding me? All right.
The lights went out. That was crazy. That was crazy. David Esger says A.J. Brown is now going to the Patriots. If Aiyuk hadn't played crazy games with the Niners, that would have been him with millions upon millions of dollars. No sympathy for B.A.
Wait a minute. Let me go ahead and just type that in. Did something just happen? Did we have some news break according to that A.J. Brown situation?
I doubt it. I don't believe. Yeah, to me, that's a dramatic overpay. If they're paying a number 1 for A.J. Brown at this point, wow, that would be.
I got nothing on the front page of ESPN.com.
Yeah, I think he's just kind of talking about. Fuji says, to be fair, McCaskey donates a lot to the Chicago Salesian Boys and Girls Club. It's simply due to them being one of the less well-to-do owners in the NFL. But no, Damon's totally right, though. It's become big biz, and these families that own have to either have deep pockets or access and the ability to sell off pieces of the team like Jed and the York family have done for, billions of dollars to subsidize the money that's being spent. But everybody's dreaming the big dream. Everybody's seeing the pie go up so big that they don't want to ever sell. But you know what? It takes money, takes money to make money. And you got it. These clubs have a lot, cost a lot. Operating capital is significant here. I mean, you're talking about free agents. You're talking about 30, 40, 50 million dollars. That's cash out of your account into their account.
But beyond that, you got to put the entire contract into escrow.
Right. So then that's money that cannot be touched. And so, it's a major deal. Steve Lewis says ABC has the finals this year, so no Reggie Miller on the broadcast.
Yeah, we don't have that bad NBC studio show either. I think we'll see inside the NBA for the first time all year, basically.
So who's going to be doing the games?
So ABC it's Mike Breen, right? Mike Breen gets to do the Knicks in the finals.
Wow, and he's the Knicks announcer, which we should get some. And Mike's a pro, and we're probably going to get some incredible anecdotes from Mike. All right, couple last thoughts. Thank you to on the Krug Show side to our sponsors. Alomar Marina voted best lunch spot in Sacramento. Floating on the Sacramento River. Float while you dine on the Sacramento River. Check out their website, alomarmarina.net. They're open Wednesday through Sunday. Get the shrimp tacos. You can't beat them. Thank you to Novato Chevrolet. Gus and all the good people at Novato Chevrolet. Go see David Corral, voted top car dealership by Carfax. Family owned, friendly staff, huge selection, easy financing, Bay Area's EV headquarters. When I buy a Chevrolet, I buy it from Novato Chevrolet. And also thank you to Sharp Corners, Sports Cards and Collectibles. Been with me for a long, long time. The great Anthony Catania is in Pacific Grove, California, along the Monterey Peninsula.
Wait. Adam Schefter just tweeted, the Browns are finalizing a trade that will send 2-time Defensive Player of the Year Myles Garrett to the Los Angeles Rams.
I'm telling you.
In exchange for Garrett, the Rams are expected to send Pro Bowl edge Jared Verse, a 2027 first-round pick, and other draft compensation still being negotiated to the Browns. But this is Adam Schefter. It's not Adam Schefter fake account or anything like that.
Wow.
It will be Myles Garrett eating a Vegemite sandwich in Australia, getting ready for the 49ers in week 1. Wow.
That will be unbelievable. So the Rams get Myles Garrett.
Wow. I mean,
Unbelievable.
Larry, I know we were thinking about wrapping up the show, but this is a huge bit of breaking news coming
Here,
in.
we'll share the screen on this one. Blockbuster trade. The Rams are trading for Myles Garrett. And once again, it's a high price. Jared Verse, Pro Bowl defensive end. I mean, he's just getting going. 2027 first round pick plus additional draft compensation.
Dude, that's a significant move. I mean, there is no way that anyone who roots for a team other than the Rams in the LA in the NFC West, you need to. This is scary. That's scary.
The Rams are going for it. Rams are going for it. You know that, and this is why it's so hard to win in the NFL, because teams go for it. I mean, really go for it.
Wow.
And the Niners are going to try to compete with this while rolling over a record amount of cap room. What are the odds of that working out? You know what I mean? I know they've got cap. We've already talked about their cap situation in 27 and 28 on this stream, but you know, the Niners had to be in the deal flow. And I talked about this for a few weeks, that Garrett was going to be traded. And like, you know, we have people in our chat here today. I could
By the way,
go if I wanted to. If I wanted
Kincaid,
to.
Our buddy John Kincaid had Adam Schefter on his show saying this ain't going to happen. It happened.
Yeah. I mean, I got people in the chat here who are like, you guys are buffoons. There's too much cap room. You know, too much. The cap hit's too great. And you guys are idiots for even talking about this. Garrett is going nowhere. Somebody had that in this chat. It's like talking down to us, calling us buffoons for even suggesting, even having the conversation that Garrett could be traded. So much for that. I guess we weren't
so
buffoons.
In the NFC West, you have the always interesting San Francisco 49ers. You have the defending Super Bowl champion Seattle Seahawks. And you now have the Rams, who have the reigning MVP and Defensive Player of the Year playing on both sides of the line of scrimmage. That is a massive, massive story.
Not only that, the Rams got Trent McDuffie. The Rams traded, you know, for Trent McDuffie, so they got the absolute, you know, best player that they could have against JSN, and then they went and got the number one rusher. I mean, Les Snead is over here playing three-dimensional chess, and everybody else is playing sorry.
It was a pretty good idea to re-sign Trent Williams. Can I just put that out there right now?
Yes.
We're talking about what you're looking at. It is really good that the 49ers re-signed Trent Williams. They probably should have addressed their offensive line even a little bit more of a priority than they did. But man, that is absolutely a all chips in the center of the poker table. We are not messing around move by the Rams, who still, even with Myles Garrett, have about as brutal of a schedule as you're going to find. I mean, the Rams just being right back in the playoffs, it's not some guaranteed thing, but holy mackerel, that is a massive move, no doubt about it. And it would be a really good day to call Joey Bosa if you're the San Francisco 49ers. Okay? It would be a really good day to give Joey Bosa a phone call.
Or, you know, maybe another tight end. I mean, it would be nice to have, it'd be nice to be able to throw the ball a little bit. I don't know. I mean, we'll see. I mean, Garrett to the Rams for Verse and draft picks. Wow. This is a blockbuster. One of the biggest defensive trades in the history of the NFL.
Without a doubt.
So, and the Rams have done this. This is what Les Snead and Sean McVay have done. They made a huge move in the 2021 offseason when they traded for Matthew Stafford in season. And that was the year the Rams, went to the Super Bowl in LA, and the Super Bowl's in LA this year. So that they're all in on the Super Bowl at home, and those F them picks t-shirts are probably going to be out there.
By the way, Verse is a hell of a player too.
Well, and then all this talk about Andrew Berry's word is nothing. The Rams' supposedly interest in Garrett was sparked shortly after the Browns modified the contract of the 7-time Pro Bowl defensive end in March. I was watching ESPN and Schefter live when that news came down, And Schefter was like, yeah, they're probably going to trade Myles Garrett. And then a couple days later, Andrew Bear's like, no, Myles Garrett's going nowhere. And then I did a video on it. Hey, you know what? Myles Garrett, to the Niners. I mean, it makes all the sense in the world.
Oh,
He's going to be traded. And it's like they haven't talked for months. And obviously he wants out. And there's no question he wants out. And I filled in on KMBR last week. And I asked Chris Rose, who's from Cleveland. I said, is there any chance that we're going to see an 11th hour Myles Garrett trade, just period, anywhere? And he's like, no, I don't think so. This is Chris Rose. This is Mr. Cleveland. I mean, right. Nobody should be more dialed in than Chris Rose. 3 weeks ago, I asked him that question. And he was like, nah, I don't think so. I don't think he's going anywhere. What?
Hey, we boiled it down to Myles Garrett doesn't like the coaching hire. That alone could get this done.
Wow.
Big story to wrap up today's Wake Up with, and this is why we never want you to miss a show. We certainly thank the NFL universe for including this in today's show. It would have been terrible if we had signed off and then this story broke. So I'm glad we got to react to it, Larry, but wow.
Is Myles Garrett still in his prime at 30, 31? Yeah. I mean, I will say this. I mean, I think this is a fair trade. We don't even know the full details. But a number one in Jared Verse. Jared Verse was a number one, and he's already playing like a Pro Bowler.
He's a defensive rookie of the year.
He's really, really good, and he's young. I mean, it's not like the Rams, gave up nothing. If they gave up just picks, it'd be one thing, but they already had an awesome defensive end. Now they have an awesomer defensive end in Myles Garrett, but they also don't have their number one pick.
If you are Verse, you're like,
Cleveland. I was living in L.A.
Winter is back in my life.
Not only that, wasn't Verse like talking S to the Niners about how they were going to kick ass in Australia? And I mean, bro, you ain't going to Australia. You're going to Berea, Ohio for gnats in your mouth. Training camp. You ever been to Berea, Ohio in the summer? You want to ingest some gnats. That's the place. Bradley says, does the Garrett trade push the Niners to sign Bosa now? I think it should push the Niners to not roll over a record amount of cap room, to next year, in a year where almost all the Niners' entire core is in the twilight and the Rams are going all in, and you're going to try to, in that year, win the Super Bowl while rolling over record amounts of money. I would say that's probably not a good plan. You probably should spend a few extra bucks. Now, I don't know if you have to overreact and throw Joey Bosa more money than he's worth, but I wouldn't mind a couple extra pieces here. A tight end, a safety, another, Jadeveon Clowney.
Look, Larry, for
Von Miller, Joey Bosa.
The Myles Garrett move has nothing to do with the 49ers' need for one more pass rusher.
No, I mean, it's not about matching up. You're not going to, what are you going to get, another offensive lineman? It would be nice, though, if the Niners gave themselves, I think the Niners are making one major mistake. Like, we'll finish with this. Bill Barnwell's a great article up last week. Best move, worst move for each team. And for the Niners, his best move was the Niners trading for Odigizua. Great move, for sure. Worst move was the Niners drafting Kalen Black, according to Bill. I disagree. You and I are big Kalen Black guys, so we don't agree with that. But I understand why he went there. I would say the biggest mistake the Niners have made this offseason is not getting a tight end when George Kittle is coming off an Achilles, and people are saying he's going to try to come back 7 months after tearing the Achilles. There's no reason to do that. You should go get a real tight end, not just a camp tight end or a prospect. Go get a real fucking tight end and put him on there. Farrell had a terrible mini camp. Tonjes is 220 pounds.
Couple more supers. In SF tradition, the York Family 49ers organization responded to the Garrett trade by buying a theater property. Yeah. By the way, I went to the Castro Theater that's all redone now. Gorgeous, man. It was awesome in there. I was there for a comedy show over the weekend. So
if those walls could talk,
Von Miller, Jalen Ramsey, Matt Stafford, Myles Garrett, John Lynch needs to step it up, man. That is from Bradley. Look, when it comes to making big trades, John Lynch can sit at the table with anybody, but this is a monster trade. This is an
all-in trade.
Yeah, it's the season, the upcoming NFL season has just been dramatically altered. The Rams are going for it.
They're all in. And
Wow.
Are you all in? And what does all in mean? Like, what would you like to see them do? What could they possibly do? Why don't we talk about that for just 1 second before we jet? What could they possibly do? I think one thing they could possibly do is think bigger at wide receiver. You got a bunch of guys who all have talent. Watkins has talent. Pearsall has talent. Cowing has talent. Demarcus Robinson has talent. How about parlaying a couple of those guys into one guy who's got a lot of talent? You know what I mean? How about trying to get one more great, player? Like the Rams are trying to get. Do you need 53 guys to win? Yes, but sometimes the 5 or 6 guys at the top of your roster are the guys that win it or lose it for you. The Rams obviously believe that and have added Trent McDuffie and Myles Garrett. They're going for it. If the Niners, the Niners have a lot of young players, but it would be nice if they could add one more rusher, one more, maybe a difference maker type receiver and not just young guys that have upside. I mean, I love Watkins. I love Cowing. I love Pearsall. I love all these guys. They're all got upside. But how about trade a couple of them for like Brian Thomas or Jordan Addison?
If the Rams can trade Jared Verse, a lot of things can happen to improve a football team.
Wow. Myles Garrett to the freaking Rams.
Huge. Everyone subscribe. Thank you so much for being here today. What a bombshell we had dropped on the last 15 minutes of this live stream. Like and subscribe no matter where you're watching over on the Krug Show here on Damon Bruce Plus. Thank you. Hit notify and all those good things. And we will be back on Friday, Larry Krueger, for another edition of Wake Up. In the meantime, thank you to our sponsors. Thanks to all of you. Myles Garrett is a Los Angeles Ram.
I'm going to go throw open a bag.